Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'll be showing you how to make this cute unicorn wall hanging. It's fairly simple to make and it doesn't take too long. For this project you will need a 2.5mm crochet hook, a tapestry needle, a stitch marker, something to cut your yarn with, a 4-inch metal ring and some parchment paper for later for ironing your tassels. You will also need 3 different colours for the flowers and the tassels, and white. They are all double knitting, and I only had Aran of in the mustard, so that's what I'll be using, but you can also use a double knitting. And as always, I am using US terms for my crochet. So let's begin. We are going to start this project with a magic ring. Then make a chain 1 and place 8 half double crochets into the magic ring. You don't have to use a stitch marker, but I'm using one because it's easy to find the beginning of the round when you want to slip stitch. When you've finished your 8 half double crochets, pull on the tail to close the ring and place a slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. For round 2, we are going to make a round of puff stitches. So for the first one, we are going to yarn over, go into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, go in the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, into the stitch, pull up a loop, that's 3 times, yarn over, pull through all the loops on your hook and close it with a chain. And for the rest of the puff stitches we're going to pull up 4 times. So go into the next stitch, that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Yarn over, pull through all the loops on your hook and chain to close. Now we're going to repeat this all the way around for a total of 8 puff stitches. When you finished your round, place a slip stitch into the top of the first puff stitch of the round. It will curl up a bit, but the next round will flatten it out. So for round 3, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to place a half double crochet on top of the puff stitch. You can place your stitch marker if you'd like, and then 3 half double crochets in the gap between the puff stitches. And you're going to repeat this around with a half double crochet up on top of the puff stitch and 3 half double crochets in the gap. When you get to the end, you should end with the 3 half double crochets in the last gap. Don't miss that out. And then we're going to make a slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. And for round 4, we're going to make another round of puff stitches. So place your first one, but this time we're going to pull 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the first stitch. Pull through all, chain 1 to close and chain 1. Then you're going to skip a stitch and place your next puff stitch into the next stitch. And you're going to pull up 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then pull through all the loops on your hook, chain to close and chain 1. And again you're going to skip a stitch and place your next puff stitch into the next stitch. So we're going to pull up 5 for a puff stitch, chain 1 to close it, and then chain 1, skip a stitch and place your next puff stitch into the next stitch. For this round you will have a total of 16 puff stitches. When you finish your round, place a slip stitch onto the top of the first puff stitch of the round. This round will curl up a bit as well, but it will flatten out with the second round. So next round we're going to start with a chain 1, and it's a round of half double crochets, so place 1 on top of the puff stitch and then 3 into the gap between. So it's half double crochet on top of the puff stitch and then 3 half double crochets in the gap between the puff stitches. When you finished your round, place a slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. And now we're going to take the 4-inch ring, and the circle needs to be slightly smaller than the ring so it stretches out and it's not too loose when you're finished. So attach the ring with a slip stitch and then place a single crochet into the same stitch and then place a single crochet in each stitch around. When you finish the round, place a slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. And then chain and pull some tail because we're going to make the hanging strip at the back. You can pull your yarn through and pull on it tight. And then we're going to count 11 stitches. And we're going to place the stitch marker in the 11th stitch. Then count 10 more stitches after the stitch marker. So you have 21 stitches in total. Then place your hook through the 21st stitch and pull your yarn through. Then you want to pull on it slightly so it's not too loose, because then it'll come up above the horn when you hang it. And then pull your yarn through and pull on it tightly to secure it. And then we're going to weave the ends in. And this is what it looks like so far, just for the circle for the middle. Now we're going to make the horn. So take your mustard colour or your gold colour, whatever you're using. As I said, you can use a double knitting yarn as well, but I only had the Aran one, so that's what I'll be using. Still with the same 2.5mm crochet hook. Now we're going to insert it in the 3rd stitch from the stitch marker, if you count the stitch marker as the first. Make a slip knot and attach your yarn and pull it through. and we're going to chain 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, don't do it too tight, 4, 5 and 6. And from the second chain from the hook we're going to place a slip stitch. In the next stitch we're going to make a single crochet. Next stitch will be a half double crochet. Next stitch a double crochet. And last stitch will be a treble crochet. And then we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the 5th one we're going to place a slip stitch. Then pull your yarn through and leave yourself a short, well, not too short tail, because we're going to sew it backwards. So take your tapestry needle and thread it through. And we're going to go through into the same stitch from the back to the front, and we're going to sew it onto the treble crochet post. So we're going to go through the post to the back, and we're going to do it all down the horn, and then we're going to go into the next stitch and back through the treble crochet post, then back into the next stitch. I'm going to repeat this down until you've done the last stitch. And then we're going to make a simple double knot at the back and cut the yarn off. And that's your horn done. Now we're going to make the flowers. We're going to make 3 in total, 1 of each colour. I'm going to start with a purple. I'm going to make a magic ring. Then you're going to chain 2, and we're going to make 2 partial double crochets, which is yarn over, go in the magic ring, pull up a loop, go through both loops, and do that again. Then you're going to have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and then chain 2 and slip stitch back down into the magic ring. And that's your first petal, and we're going to repeat that 4 more times. So you chain 2 and you make 2 partial double crochets. That's yarn over, go in the magic ring, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over in the magic ring, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then you'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, chain 2 and slip stitch back down in the magic ring. Now you have 2 petals, and repeat that 3 more times. When you finished your 5th petal, you want to pull on the magic ring tail carefully, not to snap the tail, because I've done that a few times now. Close the center, and then we're going to pull the yarn through. You don't need a long tail because we're going to make a double knot, unless you want to tie the flowers onto the unicorn head. I'm using a hot glue. but that's entirely up to you how to attach it. And then take that tail back and make a simple double knot, and you can cut the yarn off. And then repeat that twice more for the two other colours, one of each. And when you have all three flowers, we can make the tassels now. So we're going to need your three colours again, and you're going to need something to wrap your yarn around. So I'm using this A5 notebook, and I'm going to wrap it around the long side of it. I'm going to do it that I have 4 strands altogether, so I'm going to wrap it twice, and I'm going to do that with all three colours. So you can cut it off. You're going to need 4 strands for each colour. Now that you have all your colours, this is how we're going to attach them. So we'll have 2 purple, 2 pink, 4 of the mint, 2 pink, 2 purple. So from the horn we're going to count 24 stitches. So insert your yarn into the 24th stitch and take your purple colour or the colour that you're using on the outside, and we're simply going to pull that strand through. And then the next one, pull it from the back to the front and then take it through the loop. Super simple, and we're going to do it with all of them. And then the pink, mint, pink again, and then purple. Just attaching my last one. Now you don't have to straighten the tassel, you can leave them as they are if you want, but I'm going to straighten mine using my hair straighteners on the lowest settings. So you're going to take your parchment paper or greaseproof paper. I'm just going to separate the colours so they're not hiding behind each other, and I'm going to close it, and again on the lowest settings on my hair straightener I'm not going to go too slow because I don't want to burn the strands because I'm using acrylic. So I'm just going to slowly straighten them, and that's it. They should be straight enough. I'm just going to cool them down quickly. And when you turn your hair straighteners off, when they're not quite cold yet but not too hot, you can go over it again to make sure it's straight, because as you can see there's a little bump where I put the straighteners down. Now I'm going to use my hot glue gun and glue the flowers. So I'm going to leave a little gap between the flowers and the horn, so it's like a little headband kind of looking flower thing. And then the last one. And then one last thing left to do is to cut them into shape. So sorry about the wobbles, I'm holding the camera. And then I'm just going to cut it into a little triangle at the bottom. I suggest using fabric scissors because they're sharper. And that's it, you have your beautiful unicorn wall hanging. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.